So we're going to take a look at writing polynomials given the zeros. I'm only going to look at 3 of these for the examples because they're all pretty much the same on how you approach them. So one I'm going to do that doesn't have I, and the other two, one that has I, and the last one is a little tricky. Okay, so we're given the zeros. So if we're given the zeros, 1, 4, -2, this is another way of saying x equals 1, x equals 4, and x equals -2. So what we're doing here is actually moving backwards from our factoring and solving. So going backwards from here to find the original expressions for each of these, I would subtract 1 to get them equal to 0, right? Remember, we set each expression equal to 0 to solve. So x minus 1 will be here. This will be x minus 4, and this will be x plus 2. So we're just moving backwards from what we've already been doing. So remember, when we have factors like this, we set them each equal to 0 and solve to get these numbers. So we're doing the opposite, getting these equal to 0 to find the factors. And then we would just do our multiplication. So you do FOIL between two of these first. So x times x is x squared. Negative 4x plus 2 is minus 2x. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then distribute x into here. So I'll have x to the third minus 2x squared minus 8x. Then distribute negative 1 into here. So I have minus x squared plus 2x plus 8. And then you're going to combine your like terms. So I see I have negative 2x squared, negative x squared, negative 8x plus 2x. So this would be x to the third minus 3x squared minus 6x and then plus 8. And that would be the original polynomial. That would be your final answer. All right. So for this next one, we have x equals negative 3i. We have x equals 4 and x equals negative 1. So I'm going to add 1 to both sides to get this one on the right, to get x plus 1. So that's one of the factors. Subtract 4 to get x minus 4 as the next factor. And then the 3i. So I don't want to leave I in my final answer. So the way we can get rid of the number I is by raising it to a power. So I know if I just square this, I squared is equal to negative 1, and that's how I can get rid of I. So this will be x squared equals, so off to the side here, so we have negative 3 squared and I squared. So remember our exponent rule, the 2 would go to the I, and the square would go to the negative 3. So negative 3 squared is 9. I squared is negative 1. So 9 times negative 1 is negative 9. And then I would add 9 to the other side. So I have x squared plus 9. Okay, I'm going to do FOIL between these two to get x squared minus 3x minus 4. And then distribute. So this will be x to the fourth minus 3x to the third minus 4x squared plus 9x squared is 27x minus 36. And we only have 2 like terms here to give us x to the fourth minus 3x to the third plus 5x squared minus 27x minus 36. And that would be the answer. Okay. So here's the last one. We have negative 1, I, and negative I. So the negative 1, that one's easy, right? X equals negative 1, you add 1 to the other side. So we know x plus 1 is a factor. How about this I? If you think about it, when we have x squared is equal to a negative number and we solve with the square root, we would have x equals plus or minus, and the square root of -1 is I. So saying positive I and negative I, this would really only be one step. We have x equals positive or negative I. So I'm going to write it out like that. X equals positive or negative I, and we're trying to get rid of I, so we square it. So we have x squared equals, and then if I square a positive number or a negative number, it'll come out to be the same thing. And with I, when we square it, it's equal to -1, regardless if it has a positive or negative in front. And then we would add 1 to the other side. So that would be our other factor. So in this example, we had -3i, but actually when you go to solve this, it would be positive or -3i. We weren't given all of the roots. We're just given 3 of the roots. Because if you look here, it should be x to the 4th. Means we would have 4 solutions. So if you have something like this, don't let that throw you off. Having a positive or negative answer could come from one of the factors. And then we would do multiplication. So I'm just going to write them next to each other. And then this will be x to the 3rd plus x squared plus 1. And I just want it in standard form for my final answer. And that would be it.